In my earlier lectures, I have discussed that if we amend the income tax law and allow the microeconomies to be created by the post-tax surplus, after paying all taxes, whatever the surplus remains with the taxpayer individual, if he is allowed to invest in the name of a minor child, Mrs., dependent family members, to consolidate the economy of the family, it will be a laudable objective. And the title could be Yogakshema Sthai Nidhi account. Yogakshema, it is for the welfare of the family, food, clothing, shelter, education, hygiene. All these basic requirements can be fulfilled. And to that extent, government finances will be relieved. Government will not be worried about providing the necessities to these people because they themselves will create Yogakshema Sthai Nidhi account. And once this is allowed, there are certain businesses and professions where income has elasticity. More income can be declared. And more taxes, more revenue will come to the Department of Revenue. So we should allow them to create microeconomy out of the post-tax surplus. And the post-tax surplus, when deposited in the microeconomy accounts of the family members, it will go in the bank as a lasting deposit, Yogakshema Sthai Nidhi account, and it will be utilized in the economy for input purposes. And that will create more employment. So we have taken one unit. Supposing one individual taxpayer deposits 10 lakhs rupees in the Yogakshema Sthai Nidhi account of his minor child, of his missus, and dependent female members of the family, how this 10 lakhs rupees will affect the macroeconomy of the country. He deposits in the microeconomy account, and then it is utilized for the purpose of production and effect in microeconomy. We have discussed that the 10 lakh rupees will be utilized in the production purposes, production of goods and services. The scarcity of goods and services to that extent will be balanced, and out of 10 lakhs rupees, 31 employees or 21 persons will be given work opportunities and remunerated. And a turnover of 1 crore 20 lakhs rupees will yield a revenue of, at a rate of 10% GST, a revenue of 12 lakhs rupees. We have discussed that much. Now here we have got another suggestion for augmenting the state financial resources, the financial resources of the central government. There are tax areas which the taxpayers are not in a position to pay because the tax areas may be due to enhancement in income, levy of more taxes and penalties, and that for payment of these taxes, white money is required to be utilized. These enhancements in income, additions and disallowances are in many cases due to the suspicion that black money has been generated, or the superficial expenditure has been shown, or for any other reason, but the doubt is that black money has been created. And hence the assessment leads to higher income taxation, so that taxation and penalty remains in arrears. So that tax and penalty, if paid by the taxpayer out of black money funds, should be accepted by the government. Black money is the secret reserve the taxpayer creates, and government should take precaution that the currency tendered is genuine and should accept. So the black money stock will be reduced to that extent, and when the money comes to the government, the arrears will be cleared and the taxpayer can start his business or profession with a clean slate. You will not have the worry of areas of taxes. That's a liability he's always concerned with. In continuation of this theme, I have been asked by the SSCs that whatever income, net income we are declaring in the return, out of that income, minimum exemption is allowed, and thereafter tax is levied. So, supposing a person declares a 10 lakhs rupees income, supposing a person declares 10 lakhs income in the return, and he has to pay income tax amounting to rupees 1,12,500, because in the 10 lakhs, 2,50,000 is exempt, the balance is taxable. So income tax comes to 1,12,500. The post-tax surplus remains 8,87,500. If supposing a taxpayer has declared the income of 8,87,500, if he is allowed to treat this as a post-tax surplus, that means he writes on the return surplus option. That means he is treating the declared income as a post-tax surplus, so he will pay income tax of 1,12,500. Higher taxation, higher income tax will be received by the government. This is known as theory of surplus option. Whatever is declared, he is paying taxes in white. 10 lakhs rupees declared, he pays white money tax in by way of taxes 1,12,500. Post-tax surplus 8,87,500. If he declares the income of 8,87,500 and writes these two words surplus option, he can be allowed to pay tax out of his black income, secret reserve of 1,12,500. This is the theory of surplus option. This has been developed because throughout my profession, taxpayers were always saying that all the money that we have generated is being utilized in the economy. So we'll have to withdraw from the economy the amount for paying taxes. Some SSCs plan the payment of taxes, so they set apart certain funds regularly and accumulate them for payment of taxes. So this is the suggestion that tax payment of arrears may be paid in from secret reserves, and secret reserves means black money. And whatever income is declared in the income tax return, that if SSC wants to treat this as a surplus option, he may be allowed to pay the income tax out of his secret reserve. If we allow this kind of payment, then as a regular process, black money will continue to be reduced and economy will not be disturbed. Whatever money is being utilized in the economy, that will not be withdrawn. All white money will remain in circulation. It will be utilized for production purposes, and the black money from the secret reserves will be utilized for payment of taxes. Otherwise, the result is that black money, secret reserves remains as it is, and the white money is withdrawn for payment of taxes. So, out of experience, I had developed the theory of surplus option, that whatever he declares in income tax, he treats it as surplus, writes the two words surplus option, and pays taxes, a higher tax, just as I have calculated just now, and that he may be allowed to pay out of his secret reserves. So these are the two suggestions of payment of arrears out of secret reserves, that is black money, and payment of income tax out of black money of the secret reserve at an ongoing process. Another suggestion is, at the moment, tax department is known as income tax department or department of direct taxes. If we try to give a better nomenclature, for instance, National Exchequer and Economic Development, Department of National Exchequer and Economic Development, because with the development of economy, more revenue will be derived. So, a national exchequer, what means national revenue, and economic development, because tax law is giving incentives of various kinds to promote economic development. So, in this very tax law, economic development incentives are allowed by law for economic development purposes. So, the term economic development is not new to income tax law. It is already enshrined in the tax law, and for economic development, so many incentives are being given. So, if the department is known as National Exchequer of Economic Development, that is NEED, need. It is the need of the nation that revenue should be derived, and the taxpayers pay the taxes for sustenance of civilization and for various public purposes. So it is the necessity both for the taxpayer as well as the government that revenue should be raised, taxes should be paid. The department can be named as National Exchequer, Economic Development, and NEED. Then the attitude of officers will change. When every time this National Exchequer and Economic Development is flashed, they will know that there should be a balance in their assessment. Exorbitant assessment should not be done, because exorbitant assessment damages the economy of the taxpayer. Excessive assessment should be avoided. Normally, the assessing officers take precautions not to make excessive assessments, but there are circumstances where a taxpayer may be innocent. He might have declared proper income, but his taxes are levied on enhanced income. So, in order to avoid that and inculcate an esprit of understanding this revenue function in the proper spirit, the term economic development can be added. National Exchequer, Economic Development. Just as Nidhi, Planning Commission, we have given a new nomenclature, Nidhi. Nidhi otherwise means policy decision making body. Another theory that I have developed is a theory of permanent national fund. Because the persons who have become super rich, they have not become super rich because of value addition by themselves. There is a major contribution by the national government by way of various kinds of tax preferences, incentives, subsidies, by creating a special economic zones for where taxes are not levied for up to the extent of 15 years, and other various policy decisions whereby revenue is lost to the exchequer and funds are transferred for the enhancement of private net worth. This I have mentioned in my thesis. So I've termed it as a permanent national fund account. So this recommendation is for this corporate sector only. The corporate sector should from the very beginning compute the extent of revenues foregone by the state to enhance the development of these corporations, business enterprise, and that amount should be quantified and a current and cumulative basis should be mentioned above the authorized capital. If that is done, the corporate sector will feel more responsible towards the country, and if and eventually arises when they intend to declare the unit sick, the nation can say, this is the permanent national fund quantified, and your capital contribution, paid up capital, is less, so all assets do not belong to you. We can This will discourage the declaration of sick units. So people will take precaution that units should continue and there should be no sick units. So we have discussed the creation of microeconomy is necessary because if the microeconomies of the family becomes strong, the macroeconomy of the country will become strong. With all these measures of Yogakshema Sthai Nidhi account, of theory of surplus option, theory of national fund, and a new nomenclature of national checker and economic development, NEED need, we will raise enormous resources to create full employment in the country, full employment including self-employment in the country. There is no doubt about it. And whatever pessimism is prevailing at the moment, it will be removed in a very short time. If you allow the creation of microeconomies by amending the law, within a few months' time you will see the positive results coming. And therefore, I hope these matters should be brought before the central government and amendments may be made as early as possible. Optimism is a virtue which needs to be cultivated, whether in national interest or in the interest of the individual. Optimism is very important in life of the country as well. Pessimism has its contribution because it enables the persons to balance his thinking. He should not become over-optimistic. That is why pessimism has a positive contribution to make. But for progress, optimism is necessary. And with the optimistic attitude, we go for research. And therefore, my submissions are that these recommendations should be accepted by the national government as early as possible, and we will see the positive results.